Today in the Morning Edition, Alaska lawmakers looking for new ways to boost state revenue, and one idea has people talking. The governor's mansion could soon be available as a short-term rental, why some say it's creative and others call it strange.
Plus, a sudden shakeup at UAA. 4 people tied to the university had their visas revoked without warning. What school officials are saying and why it's part of a larger national crackdown.
And later, celebrating creativity around the globe, from brushstrokes to bold statements, how World Art Day is sparking imagination and honoring innovators as the Morning Edition starts now. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. And hello, I am back.
Welcome back. You left and
Yes.
winter came back for a little bit.
I know. I left. I went to Hawaii. I went to Honolulu and Maui. And literally, once we landed, I was just getting videos from my family of like what happened. So, but I feel like we brought a little sunshine back.
Well, you failed in bringing the warmth.
It's coming, hopefully, but good to
Slowly
be
but
back.
surely.
Yeah.
We are watching another winter storm across the state that's set to take aim out towards the Aleutians. That will also bring additional rounds of rain and some high winds back across South Central. We do have a high wind watch for the Anchorage and Eagle River hillside, as well as out towards Portage. That goes into effect late tonight, where we could see winds gusting up to 90 miles per hour. 35 degrees is where we're currently sitting at this morning. Winds, for the most part, remaining fairly calm, but they will increase towards the late afternoon and early evening hours. We're at 18 in Eureka, 23 in Golcana, 35 here in Anchorage. You can see western parts of South Central holding on into the 30s. This is where we're already beginning to see some of those clouds increase. Now, we'll start off this morning with some peaks of sunshine, but those clouds will quickly build back in across South Central. Nothing to talk about in terms of precipitation this morning, but as we look back off towards the southwest, this is our next storm system that's set to impact areas of the Aleutians, where we've got winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings. Already seeing some of that snow out towards Unalaska. There is that area of low pressure that we've got. We've got several locations through the Aleutians as well as out towards southwest Alaska that's seeing those winter weather alerts, from winter storm watches to winter weather advisories. We're talking about heavy snowfall possible with blowing snow likely. Snow amounts 2 to 20 inches. Now, this is a wide range, largely due to that 20 inches will fall somewhere around Unalaska. Now, as you head through the Alaska Peninsula out towards the Kuskokwim Delta coastline, this is where we could see the potential for 2 to 6 inches of that snow accumulation. So that winter weather is still with us across the state. I'll have more on that coming up. But as far as what we're going to see across South Central today, those winds increase into the evening hours. We'll see those temperatures warming into the mid to upper 40s. Still expected to see rain out towards southeast. 45 in Fairbanks, even seeing those temperatures breaking the teens along the slope. I'll have more on that storm as well as that 7-day coming up.
In this morning's top story, a sudden move from the federal government is raising questions at the University of Alaska Anchorage.
4 people affiliated with the school have had their visas revoked without warning. UA President Pat Pitney announced the action in a letter to staff and students, yet it's still unclear why the federal government made the decision. The group includes 1 current student and 3 in postgraduate training. It also comes as the Trump administration continues to tighten immigration enforcement nationwide. Tariffs, federal cuts, and litigation were all topics Senator Lisa Murkowski touched on while speaking at a nonprofit leadership summit in Anchorage.
She called for greater balance from Congress during a fireside chat at the Denina Center, part of a Foraker Group event. Murkowski criticized recent executive actions from the Trump administration, including cuts to programs like Head Start. She noted the closure of the regional Head Start office that serves Alaska has raised concern and said conversations are underway to restore funding.
Programs like Head Start that are viewed very favorably, not just those of us here in Alaska who see the value, but around the country. We will do the job that Congress has defined for us, which is to do the appropriations. But we've also got to get a bill that's going to be signed by the president.
Murkowski said they expect to see a new budget proposal from the president in the final week of May, but until then, funding details remain unclear. Later in the newscast, we take a look at what those new tariffs could mean for your family. Federal cuts to a program that connects communities with locally grown food are sparking concern across Alaska. You are looking at photos from the village of Tyonek, where residents used local food purchasing assistance, funds to fly in fresh groceries from Anchorage, boost local farming and fishing, and share food with other villages. Supporters say the program did more than feed people. It helped keep money in the community. And now with the funding gone, they're worried about what comes next.
Met partnering with neighboring tribes like the Kanik tribe, who grows carrots and potatoes that we were able to purchase from. So it's a twofold impact because there are a lot of community members who have received high value of really nutritious products that weren't available to them in the past.
We contacted Alaska's congressional delegation for comment on the cuts. They're back in the state for the Easter recess and had not responded by the time the story was published. The funding slash comes as billionaire Elon Musk promotes what he describes as massive government savings.
Well, thanks to your fantastic leadership, this amazing cabinet, and the very talented DOGE team, I'm excited to announce that we anticipate savings in FY26 from reduction of waste and fraud by $150 billion.
For more details on how the village of Tyonek used the funding or to catch up on our earlier reporting about USDA cuts, head to our website or download our mobile app.
Turning to Capitol coverage, with Alaska lawmakers looking for ways to boost state revenue, one new idea on the table involves an unlikely source, the governor's mansion. A bill under consideration would allow the historic Juneau home to be rented out when it's not in use. As Georgina Fernandez reports, the move could potentially bring in dollars to offset its hefty upkeep.
Nestled near downtown Juneau, this house might be your next available short-term rental.
It would seem like a very special opportunity, to say the very least.
What makes it special when you hear, hey, you could potentially rent the governor's mansion, is who primarily lives here.
That seems like a unique opportunity. I'm thinking only the governor of Alaska would be living there.
Right now, lawmakers are reviewing House Bill 139. That bill, sponsored by Representative Will Stapp, if passed, would require the governor's office to rent out the mansion as a short-term rental when the legislature is not in session.
I know it's like 12,000 square feet. You know, that's a lot of room. I mean, just me alone, I don't know. But I'll probably have a lot of parties if I did.
With the goal, according to Stapp's sponsor statement, that the rental revenue would help offset part of the more than $800,000 it costs to operate the mansion year-round. A vision.
I think it's creative. If it goes through, I hope people take the opportunity to do that.
That people have mixed reactions to. What goes through your head?
It's kind of strange that that would be a prospect. So I don't really understand the money generating aspect of it. You know, where's the money going? Is this going to help the kids in the schools?
But whether people would actually stay here,
it's quite how much it costs.
It would depend on the circumstances, including how much it would cost to stay there.
That all depends on how much the state is asking for. An answer Stapp's office says will be determined by the governor's office. Georgina Fernandez, Alaska's news source.
And continuing with Capitol coverage, abortion funding is on the table as state lawmakers continue debate over next year's budget. Now, inside the House chamber discussion, it turned contentious on Monday over an amendment to House Bill 53 that would have limited state funding for certain abortion services. We take you inside the Capitol for a look at what was said and where the budget talks stand now.
The Alaska Supreme Court ruled that this is unconstitutional for the legislature to have appropriative power over a constitutional right.
I know the courts have made a decision on abortion law, but I would like to clarify that nowhere does our Constitution say the word abortion. This amendment just says we are going to follow the law on those medical procedures that are appropriate under the law.
Lawmakers will continue considering House Bill 53 today.
There is a sense of growing danger that I think is not okay. I frequent the camp all the time, and I don't feel as safe today as I would have a month ago.
Tension is building for action at an Anchorage homeless camp where 2 women have been killed in just 2 months after a fire and multiple shootings at Davis Park. Community members say Mountain View is at a breaking point, and as Lauren Maxwell reports, they want the mayor to step in.
A large fire at Davis Park in mid-February once again brought firefighters to this homeless camp. At the time, the mayor said the administration wasn't ready to abate, but was monitoring the situation and working with partners to address short-term public safety challenges. The challenges haven't stopped. Just a week later, a 29-year-old woman was shot and killed in a camper while she slept. Hers one of many dilapidated vehicles that line the parking lot. Then, just last week, on April 10th, a 31-year-old woman was shot and killed here. Police call it an isolated incident, but her killer is still at large. It's prompted some people who live in Mountain View to say enough is enough.
The fact that guns are being fired, period, is a problem. You know, bullets flying through the air makes it unsafe. And that happens almost every day.
Phil Cannon is the Mountain View Community Council president. He's also pastor of a local church. Normally, he counsels patients, but even he believes the camp has gotten out of hand.
A year ago, it wasn't having the impact in Mountain View that it's having today. But I think that when it's allowed to exist for such a long period of time, then it becomes problematic.
Cannon says he's sympathetic to the fact there's no legal place for many of these people to be, and that abating the camp won't be easy. Still, he says, the neighborhood is suffering, and like many, he believes it's time. Lauren Maxwell, Alaska's News Source.
Alaska's News Source reached out to the administration to see if and when Davis Park might be abated. As of broadcast time, we have not yet heard back.
Anchorage police released a new photo of a possible suspect in the death of Star the reindeer. The image posted to Facebook, it shows a person that officers believe may be connected to the case. The cause of death is still unknown, but it comes weeks after someone cut the lock on Star's pen. He was found loose near the Delaney Park Strip shortly after.
When we come back, a rattling wake-up call in Southern California.
Boom, 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 boom. Loud, like thunder loud.
A magnitude 5.2 earthquake sends families scrambling, pets panicking, and triggers seismic warnings. What happened and why scientists say an even stronger quake isn't off the table.
But first, he was a high school legend. Now he's a hometown hero on the college court. Why Ketchikan's Chris Lee answered the call to return to Alaska, and how he's leading the charge for UAF basketballs.
Another winter storm taking aim on the Aleutians and Southwest. I'll have more on that, as well as some winds heading into South Central. But first, at sunrise, 6:37 in Anchorage, 5:44 in Juneau. Your full forecast is next.
And good morning, everyone. Back here on your Tuesday.
Yeah, we're slowly getting back into the spring of things. Aaron, what's our forecast looking like?
So we are expected to see winds increasing once again across South Central into the evening hours. Winter weather still expected out towards the Aleutians through Southwest Alaska. So we're still seeing this tug of war between the seasons. We've got several areas across the state that will see the impacts from this storm system. We've got another high wind watch as you head through the interior out towards the Alaska range, both Portage as well as the Anchorage and Eagle River hillside up under some high wind watches that go into effect tonight. And then, of course, as you head along the slope, we've got some winter storm watches which go into effect by Thursday, where we're talking about the potential for winds gusting in excess of about 40 to 50 miles per hour, which will lead to some areas of blowing snow and reduced visibility. Now, this storm system already leading to some gusty winds out towards the Aleutians. You can see from Cold Bay out towards Unalaska, those winds have been gusting anywhere from 30 to 40 miles per hour. And as that low continues to build northward, we're going to see these winds steadily increasing. So gusts up to 65 miles per hour will be possible, which will mean some blizzard conditions will be likely, and you'll see that reduced visibility, particularly in areas out towards Unalaska, where we are expected to see the bulk of that snowfall. This is where we could see anywhere from about 10 to 20 inches of that snow accumulation through parts of the eastern Aleutians. And then as you head through the Alaska Peninsula, we're expected to see a lot lighter snowfall totals, 2 to 6 inches, and that's largely due to that warmer air that's going to intrude into the region, which is going to lead to that transition to some wintry mix, if not some rain showers. And notice out towards southwest Alaska, largely quiet today. Now into the evening hours, that winter storm watch comes into effect by 9 p.m. tonight. You can see that snow spreading westward or northwestward. We're expected to see some pockets of some blowing snow as well. So be prepared for that out towards southwest Alaska as we welcome in your Wednesday. Meanwhile, across south central and southeast, widespread rain makes a return as we welcome in the overnight hours on into Wednesday. Now, we'll be seeing those southeasterly winds for inland areas. This is our rain shadow, so we'll largely stay dry as we welcome in the overnight hours, but we will see some of that rain beginning to spread inland as we welcome in the afternoon and evening hours for both our Wednesday and Thursday. So we'll be watching for that. As far as that snowfall totals, you can see out towards the Aleutians, this is where we're going to see the bulk of that snow accumulation. And then areas out towards the Kuskokwim Delta, we'll see the potential for up to 6 inches of snow accumulation. And we're also going to see some of that snow accumulation spreading into the interior with some wintry mix looking likely here over the next couple of days. Now, we're not expecting to see much in the way of rain for inland areas of south central, but we will see those winds increasing later tonight. And of course, those rain showers looking possible as we welcome in our Wednesday night into Thursday. 40s looking possible for southeast today with wet and breezy conditions. You can see across south central that coastal PM rain will arrive, starting off the day with some peaks of sunshine before those clouds thicken up. And of course, we'll see some of those breezy conditions developing later this afternoon. But the core of those winds really build in overnight into tomorrow. So be prepared for those high winds along the Anchorage and Eagle River hillside, which could gust as high as 90 miles per hour beginning after about 1 a.m. tonight. So windy conditions stay with us into our Wednesday. There's that chance for some rain continuing into Thursday. And then you can see we dry out this weekend with highs in the mid to upper 40s.
All right. Thanks, Aaron. Well, this morning, parts of Southern California are cleaning up after a 5.2 magnitude earthquake shook San Diego County.
Now there's concerns about possible aftershocks. Derek Waller shares video showing the moment the quake hit.
The cat felt it first. Then Ashley Pinnock grabs her baby Michael and bolts outside.
We have a large beam that runs through the center of our house, and I heard a cracking noise. And so my first instinct was to get out because I didn't want to be underneath that beam.
Quick thinking from residents in San Diego County, California, after that 5.2 magnitude quake rocked neighborhoods Monday morning.
We felt the whole house start to shake, and we ran into the driveway because the house was shaking so bad we didn't know if it would be safe even in the doorway.
Security cameras captured elephants on alert at the San Diego Zoo. The quake startling dogs inside this home and even waking up this baby. The tremor also knocked bottles off the wall at this liquor store in Julian.
It was like a 2 minutes. I went to go hit the restroom and whatnot, and like instantaneously, like just the aggressive shaking, and I started hearing all like the popping of the bottles hitting the ground.
Now possible aftershocks, and seismologist Lucy Jones says there is a small chance of an even bigger quake to follow.
19 out of 20 times what you're seeing is the biggest one. 1 out of 20 times it's followed by something bigger.
Today we had the most damage that we've ever had, but none of the staff was hurt, and they handled it quite well.
Neighbors left with damage to clean up, but thankfully it wasn't worse. Derek Waller, CBS News.
Residents are now being asked to check for any signs of structural damage like cracks in a home's foundation, and experts warn that residents should be thorough when looking for that damage.
And according to reports, a 3.3 magnitude foreshock also hit the area on Sunday.
You've been listening to the Alaska's News Source podcast. Subscribe to have the latest episodes delivered to your library automatically.